welcome to another episode of Haraami United, the best United channel around. Look, today's subject, we're going to talk about the United financials. Sir Jim Ratcliffe doing a cubby cushy gun fly into Ruben and have a chat. Rashford and Chelsea. Let's roll that VT.
The guy that turns up on your party, dropping the hit, got me Haraami, coming the scene like a tsunami. I know you got
Yes, so how are you doing?
All good, all good. Hope everyone liked the new intro style.
Yeah, let everybody know what we're going to discuss today.
Slight
But
delay
yeah,
in
it's
that,
been a
but
while.
it's
I know you and Aki, been driving around the UK again.
yeah.
Busy guys, man. So yeah, and just the same way, United.
One thing on that, by the way, I
Yeah,
realised
go on.
London is beautiful. Central London is absolutely stunning.
Yeah,
Right.
I was there last week, but yeah, I don't know. I was there for the Tommy Robinson March, man. But
Yeah, you were linking up with the boys, weren't you? Or
but
were you
yeah,
on
let's.
the food stalls that they were buying from?
I knew they were all coming down with their St George's flag, so I thought opportunity to sell some musty, some chicken kebabs, etc. Like, do you know what I mean? So why not take advantage of that?
That's it.
But look, yeah, let's get into United, man, because there's a lot to discuss, as we know. I think a couple of days ago, the United finances come up. Just get your quick thoughts. I'm gonna go over them quickly, but your quick thoughts of what you read and what you saw.
Okay, just quick sort of snapshot is you have to commend INEOS for cutting down the losses the way they did. That's me trying to be neutral, and I'm done with all the bias crap. But yeah, you have to commend that. And it kind of shows that we can operate at a profit.
Well, when we talk about profit, let's highlight some of the key facts. I've just got them here. So 660.5 million revenue, which is up 0.7%. So record revenues for Manchester United. Now, I think you kind of alluded to it in terms of profit. Last year we made losses of 113.2 million. This year the losses was at 33 million.
Yeah.
So a massive improvement there. 33 million only losses left now. So next year, could we break even? Could we even be in some profit? For the first time in a very long time. But yeah, let's look at some of the revenue breakdown, should I say? So commercial revenue, 333.3 million, which is a record high.
We're a juggernaut, man. Right.
Yeah.
No matter how bad we get, sponsors will come.
Yeah. And I think obviously a lot of that's to do with the Snapdragon as well. Obviously you had things like Coke, Soaking. You had them people as well. So some of them transitioned out, some transitioned in. So
let's not forget Copilot as well.
Yep. Microsoft. Match day revenue, that was at a record high, 160.3 million. So that's like to ticket membership sales. So
that one always makes me laugh.
Yeah, we've got fans talking about protests, making your voice heard, but
complaining about prices, but then still paying the prices.
For that privilege, we want to let the Glazers make more money and let them know, Glazers and INEOS, should I say. Broadcast revenue fell down to 48.9 million, which isn't a massive surprise because that doesn't include the Champions League money, but it does include Europa League money.
Yeah, which is obviously a step down. But also, if you factor in that we weren't really that good last season, so I think had we been directly involved in the relegation scrap or the battle for top four,
we were too good. Or we were too good to not get the relegation.
Yeah, we were not good enough for the title challenge money, but we were too good. We were in that weird middle ground.
But that was only because Ruben come a bit later on. If he'd come a bit earlier on, then yeah, we would have been, box office. We would have been in that relegation spot. So it's a shame.
Would have had a great attack.
Yeah, so if you look at the finances, it is a shame that he didn't come earlier. to be in that box office of the relegation battle. But yeah, so that fell, and let's not forget this year, we've got no Europe at all. So forget Champions League, we've got no Europa League. Bearing in mind we went all the way to the final in that as well, so that would have contributed. But yeah, so some of the other things, like we said, the operating expenses obviously still outstrip the revenue, which is not too far now. As I said, just a 33 million buffer as such. Exceptional costs, there were 36.6 million. So that's firing Ten Hag, staff redundancies.
All Ten Hag's coaching staff as well.
Oh, you're going to look at Dan Ashworth. So
does that factor? By the way, does that factor in the money we paid Sporting for Amorim as well?
You usually would have include that in there, yeah. So it would, they don't expect to pay that every year. Do you know what I mean? It's an exceptional cost. So yeah, so if we'd have kept Erik ten Hag, kept Dan Ashworth, okay, fired some of the staff, we probably would have been in profit.
We would have made 3 million.
3 million in profit, like, do you know what I mean? So,
which, to be honest, not many well, I think there's only 3 football clubs in the Premier League that actually turn a profit. All the rest operate at a loss. So look, when people get outraged, oh my God, INEOS have done this, the Glazers have done this. Do your research on the other 19 Premier League clubs. They all operate at losses, barring 3 of them.
Yeah, like we said, football clubs aren't there to make money. So I for whatever we talk about and how we talk about Jim Ratcliffe, I mean, we'll touch upon it in just a second. I don't believe he's in it for the money. So, but 1 second. I mean, just a couple of the other things just before we continue that. You got the wage bill, which dropped by 14% from last year. So that is £313 million now. So, but what that actually means is that is 47%, 47.1% of the actual revenue that we turn over.
Yeah.
So we used to make it around about 60%. We didn't want to be, about 55, 60% was what we were always happy with. And we always stayed within that. You've got other clubs out there which are in 80, 90% of their revenue.
80%.
Is their turnover. So 47.1%. Massive.
Good going from a business sense. I mean, and just sort of looking ahead to next year's financials, you would assume that Sancho's wage isn't going to be on there. Marcus Rashford's wage is not going to be on there. Casemiro's wage may not be on there. Bruno's a maybe, but just there you're looking at what? Just short of $1.5 million a week. Which is nearly 60 million a year.
Yeah. And as you touched upon that, the outlook for next year, what they mentioned in the report was 2025-26 season, the revenue is expected to be about 640 to 660 million, which is slightly obviously down from this year's.
Slight drop, yeah.
But that's without Champions League, or should I say Europe altogether.
No.
So, they're looking at, I think they're talking about some of the commercials. They're also talking about some of the TV revenue in terms of domestic games. I think that's, they're expecting a bit more money from the Premier League because I know they're showing more live games this year. So I think that may be a part of it as well. So like you said, so from INEOS's point of view, and well, Glazers more than anything else, the club is now financially healthy, which kind of still confused about because they were meant to be just looking after the football part of things.
I don't really understand whose remit is what anymore.
Yeah, because they obviously came with it was meant to be just the football operations, but getting rid of staff from marketing departments, HR, staff canteen, that isn't football department. Okay, yes, they've made some player sales. They got rid of coaches.
Could it be football department because it's on the football premises side of the bit? Like, this is what I'm trying to wrap my head around. Obviously, these staff have departed from Old Trafford and Carrington. They are.
Don't forget some of the guys from down the London office as well.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the guys from Carrington and Old Trafford are like they're the footballing base of operations, right? So
No, not necessarily.
I
You've
don't know,
got
like,
the
it's weird.
no, because you've got like at Old Trafford, you'd have the people who go around the tour stadium, the canteen staff there, both at Carrington and at Manchester, Old Trafford as well.
They are
You've got
recruiting for museum tour staff, by the way.
well, yeah, marketing and all that business. So it's not all football. And yeah, look, what happens is normally, you touched upon that they are recruiting now because they've obviously overcompensated. They've obviously made a
Free
lot
lunches is
more.
not part of the perks.
What was that? Sorry.
Free lunches is not part of the perks.
Yeah, I mean, they made redundancies, and that's what normally happens. They make so many, but they know they leave themselves short. But what they do is when they do then recruit, they recruit on a lower baseline of
Lower band.
wages. So for them, it's a bit of a win-win in that respect. Yeah, I mean, like I said, so the commercial part, as we talked about, don't forget they've still got the training kit to sponsor.
Yeah.
Still got the training ground to sponsor because that's something that we've had in the past. We're not going to. I can't see
And
any.
now with the third party associations ruling that came out, it's free game, innit?
Yeah, let's see if INEOS will
£700 million
sponsor
sponsorship deal on the training kit. Come on, Jim.
Yeah, look, the new training ground on the new bikes, can they put INEOS on there as a sponsorship? But look, I've been very critical of it, and it kind of annoys me that they've been showcasing their Grenadier,
no sponsorship.
when they bring the players in and all that. That's getting a lot of highlights. I'm highlighting it for one a lot of the time, but that normally would have been a car sponsorship or a car deal.
Yeah.
You would do that, so
Chevrolet
they're leaving money on the
first.
Yeah, exactly. So they're leaving money on the table for that as well.
One thing about the Grenadier though is like it's just a red Grenadier, and I see it sometimes, and I'm like, imagine if they I know Yanni's not in the rapping game anymore, but imagine if they rank up like Yanamize and was like, yo, we need a Man United rap on this car. Just get creative with it, do something different, and make it pop.
Then they spend money though, aren't you?
No, I doubt Yanni's going to charge for one car. What's he going to charge? You know what I mean?
But look, they're taking the canteen staff money perks, so we got to look at that. But look, I think some of the other things as well. I haven't quite got to the proper report. I know we were discussing it yesterday with some of the guys in the group. I think the recruitment was, what was it, 167 million, I think it was.
Around, ballpark figure.
The ballpark figure about 167 million. That's what we spent on player recruitment. In that we sold 55 million worth of players. We also got so on that. So although we had 55 million sales of players, their book value is around 30 million. So essentially, we made 20 million on that. But we also received 20 million from sell-on clauses. So the likes of Alanga, Alvaro, even one or two of the others. And I think you got some of the, I think around about 750,000, or was it 75,000? I can't remember. For things like, I'm going to use McTominay for McTominay winning the league, so many appearances. You get all those kind of things, that are tied. So yeah, we didn't get loads of money. You can't count Rashford because, from what I understand, we've got no fee from him anyway. But he's an option to buy. So if Barcelona do buy him, and if that is done after the 30th of June 2026, that'll be on that financial year. But if they sign him up before that, that'll be on this.
Actually, important point on that. Remember, Barcelona covering his wages.
Yep.
So they're effectively not in this year's books.
Yeah. Well, some of it was because I think Villa were paid last year.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Half season he went. But then you've also got Rasmus Højlund. You'll have I think it's 5 million. I think they're giving us to loan him this season.
I think
Something
it's,
of
yeah,
that nature.
5 million loan fee, and then it's mandatory if they qualify for the Champions League, and that's around 40 million.
Yeah, I know it's an obligation, but I don't know whether it was tied to the Champions League
or something. I remember Romano saying something about it's mandatory if certain like a condition's met. Right. I think it was Champions League, but
yeah. So
they're gonna achieve that, aren't they?
Yeah. So you haven't actually got that money coming either yet. So yeah, but the main thing is, I think even with the PSR side of things, we look a lot better. Like I said, we've sold Garnacho, so he brings a lot of money in. Like I said, the book values, even the ones that we did sell, we sold into profit in terms of that there. So yeah, I think overall is that the club's looking a lot healthier now. Some people are talking about you've got we took out more money on the credit facility. I think it was 105 million pounds. So I think the total money that we owe in terms of transfers are now up to, I think it's a record high. I think 470 million or something of that nature.
Ridiculous.
So it's higher than we've ever had it before. But this is where.
I saw a tweet earlier that apparently total liabilities now are just over 1.1 billion.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It doesn't. Yeah. I think Simon's done pretty. Yeah, 1.1 billion. We look like we owe that there, and like I said, that's not out of the norm. But yeah, I go back to what we spoke about earlier. What is INEOS here to do?
I mean, from the looks of it, well, from the statement that came out, it was footballing operations and football control. So hence Barada, Ashworth, Vivel, Wilcox, all of them guys. Ashworth then got the boot. Amorim then came in and, whatever happened. But then, as you said, they're the guys making the cuts. They're the guys making the redundancies. So what exactly is their remit? Are they de facto owners of the club now? Like, I don't know, but look, they've got the books in a healthy place. We know about that 18-month window and the drag-along clause. I mean, it makes the company, not the football club, the company, a lot more attractive to prospective buyers.
Well, yeah, like I'll put a tweet out there. It's as an investor, it looks a lot more appealing than what it was before they came in. Like I said, even like last year's, we were losing 113 million. Now it's 33 million. So just those, the operational costs have come way down. Even if you just look at it that point of view, yes, obviously you've got the revolving credit. Who doesn't use a revolving credit? You got debts. Who hasn't got debts? You got Apple. I was looking yesterday, got 10.1 billion roughly dollars worth of debt. This is Apple.
And they've got a stupid amount of cash reserve as well.
Yeah, they got their cash reserve outweighs their debt. You've also got Manchester United again. From what we looked at yesterday, I think there's 87 million in cash as well.
Yeah.
So sitting there. So in terms of a business, like we said, and I've been talking about it a long time. I take the piss out of some of the people that in our group as well, and some others in other groups, where they were saying we were going to go broke. How Jim Ratcliffe said it. We knew that this wasn't the case. We'd been saying it for a long time. And I think these last two kind of report financials kind of confirm that. I just think it's people, their understanding of way businesses run, how they run. And, we talk about debt. Debt's not always a bad thing. Depends what you're using that debt for. We know the principal debt, which is roughly 500 to 600 million, is what the Glazers put on the club for the privilege of them owning us. That's just not going anywhere. That debt is no good whatsoever. But say, if you're using the revolving credit facility to buy players, they're an asset. They're meant to get you goals, defend your goals, get you higher positions, win you things. So that's what you call then a liability, that just a debt whereby you're looking to get money back. So those kind of things I've got no problems with. So yeah, like I said, with what INEOS are doing in terms of the finances, and we said it wasn't as bad as what it was before. I think it looks really good. Or a lot better.
I think. Look, like I said, you have to commend them for the job they've done, right? Like, we've gone from an operating loss of, what was it, 100 and something last year?
113.
To 30. So they've wiped out 80 mil. Just about. So, like, if you follow that trajectory forward, maybe, like you said, next year we break even or make a tiny profit the year after that. You know what I mean? Like, these things tend to track upwards, barring unforeseen events.
Yeah, and I mean, some of the arguments were, look, we were in for Baleba. We talk about the 86 million cash. So we had cash there, and I believe we still got even more room on the revolving credit facility. Don't forget, any player that you bring in, it's not a hit straight away. So if we'd have bought Baleba, let's just call round figures 100 million. Over 5 years. Yeah, over 5 years, that would have been 20 million a year. Okay, his salary and all that business. So let's just say 25 million a year. So that's how that would have been looked and reported on there. But the question goes is, were they that desperate to actually invest in the club and bring it up? Because an argument I would have for that is, well, they had an offer around 100 million, or would have had an offer of 100 million for Bruno. They gave Bruno the choice to decide. He chose no, so he stayed. But he'd also said after the Europa League, like he says, if the club say you go on your way, he would have gone. He said, I'll go. So that was 100 million that we would have had, that we could have reinvested on top of what we already invested in, and the things that we'd already done. We could have got a Baleba. We probably would have gotten even another defender, maybe two midfielders, a Baleba and a Wharton.
Yeah,
let's just say. But then the funny thing is, after you keep Bruno, where he's had his most impact, or 95% of his career at Manchester United, he's played as a number 10. So you're now keeping him, but you're playing him out of position.
Well, that's the perfect segue into the next topic, which is Ruben Amorim. And I mean, do we go from the gym point of this? Do we go from the tactical? Like, how do we approach this?
Well, let's have a look, because we said Jim. It was reported yesterday he flew into Carrington, and this is what Ben Jacobs says, who's quite surprisingly this year been on top form, man. He's put Ruben Amorim has been told he must deliver European football, although UEFA Champions League qualification is not the football or budget target.
That sounds like it plays a line to me.
No. I'd say the opposite. It's an INEOS line.
No, the first bit, like the European football, because thing.
But I'll explain what I mean. But it does say it follows a planned meeting between Amorim and Sir Jim Ratcliffe. And the reason why I say it's an INEOS thing, because Glazers, soon as their manager was not in the top 4, they'll be sacked.
Yeah. Whereas this is
so if they were in the Champions League, they got sacked. So it's like I said, you can clearly see here it's all about what INEOS wanted to do. And just one last thing, you talk about Ruben Amorim, and this again is the crazy thing I just want to bring up. I think he's just done his recent press conference, and he's put on there again a snippet. I think we are playing well until the boxes, defending and attacking. We need to be more aggressive in the boxes. We need to be more clinical. The rest, I think we are improving compared to last year.
Yeah, every fan in the world seems to think midfield is the issue.
And this is the thing, and I've kind of almost gone beyond, let me make it clear again. The biggest gripe I have against Ruben Amorim, he talks too much. When I say he talks too much, he says too many stupid things. Okay, like this is the worst football team ever, a Man United team ever. I'd rather play the 60-year-old goalkeeper than Marcus Rashford.
Sometimes I want to be here, sometimes I don't.
Sometimes I hate my players, sometimes I love my players. He just talks just so much rubbish, Jeremy. But so he's saying in his mind he thinks he's doing well. So there's only one little area, the both boxes, which are subsequently the most important. Yeah, one's where you can see goals, one where you score goals. Yeah. And the one area he does think we're good at, which is the midfield, is the one area where every man and his dog, are saying we're just getting crushed in the middle of the field. But again, like I says, what are the likes of Jason Wilcox doing, who's the director of football?
Look, I've said this a lot privately, and I don't know if I've said this on here, but I'm very confused by this football structure. If you look at quotes from Ratcliffe, it's he says something about, when he talks about, there's that quote about changing styles, and the analogy he uses is we won't go from a Pep Guardiola to a Jose Mourinho, but we went from Ten Hag to Amorim.
Yeah.
So that confuses me. Then it's like, the people that will be consulted on this sort of thing are, we'll decide. And then he goes, maybe the technical guys, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, to me, like, Dan Ashford should have been the one to say, right, this is going to be the new manager, because he's the one recruiting for him, right?
Yeah,
Dan Ashford got frog marched out the club.
Just quote that. So what Ratcliffe said, we'll decide the team of people. It'll be us plus the CEO, sporting director, probably the recruitment guys, what that style of football is, and that will be the Manchester United style of football, and the coach will have to play that style of football. So then if we go by that, that means this is what Jim Ratcliffe and his team, again, I'm going to use Jim Ratcliffe because he's the top of the top of that Christmas tree. He's the one who's then happy with the way we're playing, because nothing's getting changed about it.
But where have they got this idea of the 3-4-3 from? Because, I did a bit of research. OGC Nice play a 4-3-3. Jason Wilcox in the Man City Academy was 4-3-3, 4-5-1, 4-2-3-1. Jason Wilcox at Southampton was 4-3-3. Barada never had any tactical input on anything Pep Guardiola did because he wasn't that side of the business. So the only guy that was tactically flexible, let's say, is Dan Ashworth, who built back threes, back fours, back fives at Brighton, and a 5-man midfield or a 3-man midfield at Newcastle.
Well, I think with Ashworth, I don't know whether he was determined to build a 3-4-3, but like we said, I think what he said, he was not to go the Amorim route because there would have been too much upheaval.
Yeah.
But this is where then I'm thinking now, is this purely about football? Because the way you said it to the fans is the managers come in. So again, if you listen, even before Amorim came in, you had little drops of the media talking about it. You had the likes of Gary Neville saying, Delic's too slow. Or this team probably worked better as a 3 at the back, 5 at the back kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Now you're saying, obviously, it should never be. But, were we getting those briefings right early on? So what the fans were then told were, these players aren't good enough. We need to get rid of them. These wingers can't play as wing backs, but we need wing backs. So, so we got rid of the likes of Rashford, Garnacho, Anthony, all these Sanchos. So we got rid of all the high hitters. Obviously, we tried to get rid of Casemiro, it just didn't work. He actually then fell in favour with him. So I'm thinking here, like we went at the top of the show, you're looking at reducing 113 million from last year. What's the best and easiest way to do it? Get rid of these high-paid players
who happen to be wingers.
How do you make the books look a lot more healthier? You get rid of the big hitters. How do you make the PSR look a lot more better? Pure profits. You get rid of a lot of the youth players.
Yep.
So like I said, make no bones about it. I think they would have got rid of Kobe.
Oh yeah, definitely.
If the uproar wasn't as much as it was,
I still think they might.
They still might, but I think some people, hopefully, some fans might have cottoned on what this INEOS Glazership are doing. Do you know what I mean? So that's the scariest thing. But look, we were just talking about one of the youth players, Marcus Rashford, against your team, Newcastle, yesterday. Unfortunately,
I've been battering so many people. Just sending them Marcus Rashford gifts all night.
Yeah, his first 2 goals in at Barcelona. Don't get me wrong, he's been playing decent. He's been playing games. I think it was the first game where he didn't. I think he came off the bench, but the rest he's kind of been playing. He's been assisting. So one of his assists, one of the previous games. Yesterday he got his 2 goals. Do you know what I mean? So it seems like he's obviously doing what he needs to be doing, in terms of that there. So is Rashford the problem? Are the other players the problem? Your thoughts on that?
We've said this for so long. The players leave, players perform. Look at McTominay. McTominay was a huge problem at Manchester United. Then a year later, he's nominated for the Ballon d'Or. Of course, he's not going to win it, but he's. Do you know what I mean? Like,
to be in those discussions.
You tweeted it. I saw your tweet something about. Hopefully now the fans will wake up and see what the real problem is or something. Or I don't know. I saw that and I was like, that's bang on, That is what it is. And credit to Marcus because he took a lot of flack from this fan base. The second goal in particular was wow. So hopefully he can keep that up. Let's not forget there is a World Cup at the end of this year. So I assume England is his target. The World Cup is his target. And look, if it works out for him, he goes to the World Cup, he gets to stay in Barcelona for another 4 or 5 years, and Man United get paid 40 mil. So win-win.
And again, it looks healthier on the book. So yeah, as what I put in there, and I think it's quite poignant. And I haven't actually got any feedback on this. Nobody's actually mentioned anything, but I put Manchester United fans protest Glazers out, but then kill players who flop here and shine elsewhere. Because I've been seeing that today, whereby they're like, oh, Mark Rashford, he had shit games for 3 years and he does well now, or etc., etc. But
I've seen the thing of, well, it's only Newcastle. I'm like,
yeah.
Newcastle wiped the floor with us the last time we played them.
Yeah, and I mean, like, and I've mentioned, don't you see the link? You got the shit structure, no direction, toxic environment. The fans blame the players, And again, I ask, why do people actually want the Glazers out? Do they want the Glazers out? Do you know what I mean? And I don't think, if you ever ask anybody that, I don't think they can ever answer the question. A lot of people cannot answer that question. But yeah, I mean, we've got a game tomorrow.
Yeah, 5:30.
Just seems like what time?
5:30 kickoff, isn't it?
Yeah, 5:30. Yeah, 5:30 kickoff. Predictions?
You know what? Going into it, I would have said Chelsea win 3-0. Chelsea got absolutely destroyed by Bayern Munich.
Did you watch the game?
I saw highlights but
no, I didn't. Well, the first half I watched it.
To me, I think they played really good football. I think Maresca's sides, even if you look at Leicester in the Championship, they played phenomenal football. They have this weird tendency, and it happened at Chelsea last year, where they do really, really well, and then at some random point they just drop off for some reason.
Concede a couple of goals, and then
they can't seem to sustain it for the full season. which, I mean, obviously it's a tough ask. You know, we see Man City do it under Pep, 15 wins in a row, 16
Yeah,
wins in
it's
a
a
row.
tough task. They've not got enough players to cope.
Yeah, and only got the 70 odd on the books. But I mean, the positive news is Mount's back, Cunha's back. Whether they feature, we don't know. Amorim's weird with his selections like that. But
yeah, I mean, on that, I fully expect Mount and Cunha to play.
I think Chelsea take this, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, before the season start, I think the 10 games I'd put Chelsea win. But in my head, I've always thought, well, these are the games that we're meant to be good at. This is what this whole back five, back three, whatever you want to call it, is meant to lend itself to the defensive side of things, the bigger teams. So, you know, we're meant to be the underdogs. But like I said, the Arsenal game, that didn't work. The Man City game, that just did not work. Like, do you know what I mean? So now I'm thinking, well, hang on. Who does this system work against? Because, again, Fulham withdrew.
But what's funny is that it worked last year against City.
Well, we beat City, but again, that was just some individual brilliances. The likes of Diallo, who was playing in his position. This year, he's not playing in that same position. Bruno, again, I think he was playing a bit more in his number 10, where he's not playing that this year. So, yeah, I fully expect a loss. And, I mean, I don't expect us to lose by much. Like I said, I'm quite... Even the City result, it was 3-0, probably should have been 4-5-0. But, again, when you've got 6 defenders on the pitch, I don't expect you to be losing 3-4-5-0. So, you know, if we do. But, Garnacho, I mean, just finishing up, he'll be back. From what Maresca's been saying, it looks like he could start. He's got no issues with starting him.
From what Amorim said, we don't talk about players at other clubs. He's not our player anymore. He got asked about it and he very cleverly dodged the question. A bit like the joking about the new contract he got offered.
I don't think he'd probably be joking about that, you know. It's probably been offered.
I thought, read the room. Like, it's a bit of a... I mean, he wouldn't have said that in front of fans, basically, because it would have caused chaos. But like we said, he says stupid things.
Yeah, he said stupid things at the wrong time. But yeah, look, sorry, yeah, I mean, I always forget to say this as well, you know, people subscribe to the channel. I mean, it helps with the algorithms, you know, it lets make people more aware. I said, I do fully expect us to lose tomorrow. It's not the greatest thing. I think some fans are just now actually waking up and understanding that it's not just Amorim. A few more are crashing it on the likes of INEOS and Glazers. And all I would say, people go out and have a look at and see why that is. You know, we've said it from the top, even when they came, that this just not going to work out. It's transpiring to be that way. So, you know, we're in no copium. You know, we just say things.
Failing hops. It's all failing.
Yeah. Oh, it's failing. It's all failing. You got those same people who wanted Jassim in a underground. Yeah, I think there's a lot more to come, unfortunately. So, yeah, everybody, thank you for joining in and see you on the next one.
The guy that turns up on your party.